IP debated for Muslim, and they give the worst excuse ever when defending PDF. Yeah, that's right, PDF. And I'm not talking about the PDF that's on the computer. I am talking about child marriage. Yep, child marriage. This is crazy that your own religion pretty much forces you to defend that. I find that's very, very alarming. But before we get into this debate, make sure you hit that like button so this video can go out into the algorithm to people just like you, and it can help this channel grow. So let's take it over to the live scene. So this debate is on the way. We watched the 4v4 on here, and it looked like basically they did this debate after the 4v4, or maybe before, I don't know, but you could tell by the clothes that they're wearing. So yeah, we're just gonna hop into it and check it out.
Is Christianity better for society than Islam?
I obviously say yes. And when we assert that, we have to, I'm hoping today we can touch on several topics, because there are several things to look at when we're looking at these different religions and knowing which is going to produce better results. And that's the key here, which is going to produce better results. So whole well-rounded thing here. So we're not talking about which we think is more moral. We're not talking about which we think is true. We're talking about which religion is going to produce better societies. And in terms of several metrics, Christianity just outperforms Islam on many, many, many important things. So I will start with 3. I'm hoping to get to more.
He said, which religion is going to create better society? Keep that in mind. Better society. Which one is going to create better society? That meaning today as well. All right.
There's a bunch of things. So I would say, first of all, Islam allows and promotes child marriage. That is extremely bad for society. That leads to harm done to girls, harm to their offspring, which leads to inferior societies. Islam also allows cousin marriage. Christianity, because of our ecclesiology, has gotten rid of cousin marriage. So that means that we have produced better societies because more cousin marriage leads to lower IQ, more birth defects, and actually less economic prosperity. And the third thing I'll bring up is actually the practice of polygyny. Islam does allow polygyny, but polygyny actually deteriorates society. If you don't know, polygyny is specifically, it's a form of polygamy where it's one man and multiple women. So polygamy can be one woman, several men, but polygyny is one man, several women. So those 3 things are 3 ways in which that Christianity has done away with through trial and error, through understanding of the natural world, through understanding of how we operate as a society, which has produced far better results. So dive in.
Who wants to begin? Okay, yeah, so when it comes to the
who is this one guy right here? I'm wondering, like, who is that? Because they gave a name for the E3, but they didn't get a name for this one right here.
3 critiques, I think obviously this needs some time to dissect. It's very general. There's a lot of data that we need to process. But to begin, what we're trying to compare is obviously what we're establishing is that we have Islam, we have Christianity. If implemented in society, which one yields the better results, right? In terms of moral values that we can both agree upon, right? Now, when it comes to the first one, you said, not only did you say that when we have Muslims that would practice child marriage, you specifically said that Islam allows it. So I want to really focus on that. Where did you get the understanding from that Islam allows child marriage, given the fact that the Messenger, peace and blessing upon him, explicitly says in an authentic narration, لا ضرر ولا ضرار, no harm, no reciprocating harm. So the Messenger already explicates and says that when it comes to any relationship, if there is harm involved, it's going to be impermissible. So how do you get around that? Now, if you're going to argue that a more fundamentalist approach of the Quran and the Sunnah would allow for this, rather than a traditional approach, that's a different argument, but you specifically said that Islam allows for it. So what would be the evidence for that?
So yeah, great. So yeah, let's start with that. So with regarding the harm principle to start, that's obviously interpreted differently. Because, for example, Sahih al-Bukhari allows for the killing of apostates, but that's going to harm them, but you're not going to throw that out. You're going to allow self-defense wars in Islam, but that's going to cause harm to invaders, so that's obviously going to be interpreted differently. The 2 main ways we know that Islam allows and promotes child marriage is with the Quran says that Muhammad is the pattern of conduct, but he married Aisha when she was 6 and consummated the marriage when she was 9. That is a child. There's no biological way that could not be a child. Therefore, it allows child marriage. And then, of course, Surah 65:4, which does allow girls.
Beautiful. Do you guys want to jump in, or should I continue?
You've been shaking your head. What did you want to say?
Well, I mean, I have many things to say. First of all, Islam does not in any way, shape, fashion, or form support any idea of pedophilia or underage marriage. Islam does not support anything like that at all. The Quran gives an age of marriage. It is very clear. It gives something called an age of marriage. And that age of marriage is when you reach puberty, in essence. Okay.
Puberty. So puberty is when you're mature. Has a 9-year-old ever completed puberty?
Sure.
Really? According to what?
Sure. I mean, this is life. These are things that happen.
Yeah, when you look at, for example, the classical texts that he quoted, Bukhari himself has a narration where Aisha radiallahu anha refers to herself as a woman, right? So if you wanna like internally critique our sources regarding what it says, regarding when the marriage happens.
You say internal or external?
Internal.
I'm not. This is external critique. This is definitely external critique.
How do you come to conclude that the marriage was at 6 and 9?
Because that's what your sources teach.
Beautiful.
But then you're also saying she's not a child, and I'm saying that's just incompatible with reality.
Okay.
There is no such thing as a 9-year-old woman. The hips on a girl do not develop until the ages of 15 or 17. Puberty is not complete. There is no possible world where it's biologically the case a 9-year-old could be anything but a child.
Okay. Would you say that in order to be able to conceive and bear children, etc., you would have to have gone through some of the stages of puberty?
You would have to go through all the stages of puberty. So, for
Okay,
example,
good.
there was a cross-sectional study done that actually showed that girls that were 15 and under had 4 times higher the rate of death in childbirth.
Okay, so you said that it's never happened where this was the case, right?
There's no case where a 9-year-old could have completed puberty, no.
Okay, but hold on 1 second. I'm saying for somebody to get pregnant, they would have had to have gone through all the stages, correct?
No, they have to go through at least standard stage 4, because at the end of standard stage 4 is when they have puberty.
Would you consider that person to be pubescent or prepubescent?
Did they have their first period?
I'm saying they got pregnant, so they would have already.
If they
had their
got
period.
pregnant, then they're post-pubescent. Yes.
Good. So there's an example. I don't know if you know who it is. Her name is Lena Medina. She was 5 years old when she first got pregnant. Obviously, we don't agree with the means that she got pregnant by, but it's to show that it is the case that this is something that could still happen. Right?
Okay.
So they saying since it can happen, it's okay. They're still a child. I don't care. I don't care. I do not care. They're still a child. That's too young. That is insane. That is still a child, bro. Something must have genetically or whatever went wrong if someone were 5 years old and got pregnant. I'm just saying, that's just, come on, don't be stupid.
I got a
And
question
this is
about
something
that.
that happened more
I got a
modernly.
question. So you said if they have their period, they're a woman, they're an adult, they're post-pubescent. Was that 5-year-old an adult?
Yeah, so insofar as what I asked you, I was asking you in regards to what your criteria is that you're establishing. Right now, I don't think there is a criteria that you're actually giving in regards.
See, this is when trying to win a debate, people really like don't even have standards. Like at this point, it seems like they're not even setting a standard. There's no morality there when trying to win a debate, and it's crazy. Like they don't want to lose so bad, so they lower their morals and standards just to try to win a debate. And I see them tweeting like I see the Muslim tweeting about this all over Twitter. Like, oh, he got cooked and stuff. Y'all think that's okay? Like that is so crazy.
To what is considered to be a child, what is considered to be
Okay,
adult.
I'll give it.
So-
I'll give it.
Okay.
You have to complete puberty. That is not completed till 15 to 17. That's why we as a society, we assign adulthood to the age of 18. Anything under 18 is a child. That 5-year-old is not a woman. She's a child. She should not be married off.
Okay.
So how do you respond to the argument from natural law, which we see that, for example, Paul appeals to within Romans and Corinthians, that we can look at nature to be able to come to reason, and we see that there was no critique of this specific marriage of Muhammad والسلام, prior to the 19th century, which means that nobody prior to the 19th century made that critique, although he was criticized for other things, right? Other critics have made other points regarding it, but nobody made it regarding the marriage between him and Aisha radiallahu anha. So if you conclude that we both agree on the standard of natural law and coming to reason through nature and what God has instilled in us through who we are as human beings, and would agree that we would expect that if it was the case that it was wholly immoral during that time, how come we don't have that critique?
Be honest, man. I wouldn't be able to debate with him because his accent is so strong. I can't understand him.
Prior to
So
the 19th
I
century?
got where you're coming from. Okay, so here's the first problem. Practically, a lot of the hadith were not known in the Western world. So that's the first problem. The second thing is Muhammad is supposed to be the pattern of conduct for Muslims, for people in all times. And he's supposed to be getting divine revelation from God. Yet he's a girl. That's evil. That's setting a bad
we don't
example
go
for
on that.
humanity. And this doesn't matter. All this shows at the end of the day is Muhammad was a product of the corrupt, backwards culture of his time. We now have the scientific evidence to know that is wrong, and it should never have been prescribed by some sort of apparently omniscient deity. Apparently.
Right, so what your response is that actually the reason why we don't see that critique is because there is no access to the ahadith at that point. First of all, that's not even true.
I didn't say that. I said that practically. I said there's a pragmatic aspect.
Right, like on a mass scale, right?
Yeah, on a mass scale.
However, we know that there is a lot of critiques that were raised against Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. And amongst those critiques, none of them were regarding the marriage. So the argument will still follow. Why? Because we do have the critiques, meaning that people have access to the Quran, people have access to the Sunnah, such as John of Chrysostom, for example, who critiques Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam in his writings. Yeah, we don't find a critique about child marriage, right? So we still see that you saying that it wasn't widely accessible is irrelevant. Why? Because you have a big sample data where there's a lot of critiques regarding it and not a single one part in the 19th century.
So let's go on that. So we're
about,
conflating two things. The natural with what, as Immanuel Kant said, out of the crooked timber of humanity, nothing straight has ever grown. I agree, there were plenty of humans in the past that believed bad, corrupt, wrong things. They're not the standard. Like the Quran says,
Who says
Muhammad.
they
Hold
are?
on, let me finish. I'll let you finish. They're not the standard. They're not getting their information from omnipotent God. We now know today, this is wrong. This is bad. The temporal lobes are not even developed in a 9-year-old to properly communicate or express or understand activity. So if
What he's talking about is bad for society today. They keep focusing on the past. We are talking about today. That's the issue. And that is one argument that they like to make is, oh, well, back then, no. We talking about, is it a great standard for today? Because in our Bible, it clearly say that you can't do that. You're not supposed to do that. It clearly say that only you're supposed to just man and wife, like no adultery. It literally comes against sexual sin. And the Bible is better for society today, not the Quran.
you're messing her up mentally. Not only can you, or these physical problems, it's also mentally bad. It's socially bad. This is not good for anyone. We know that now. So Islam is allowing this. You guys are kind of defending it, which I'm shocked. It's child marriage. We should just reject, everyone out here should be outright, yes, child marriage is wrong. It should be abolished around the world.
We literally agree. We literally, before we began, we clarified that Islam, we don't believe there's something known as child marriage. Right? We already clarified that.
So,
Now,
but I said child under the age of 18. Do you agree a child is under the age of 18?
No,
Right. Again.
that's subjective.
Okay,
Right,
then we don't.
now we
Then you don't
switch.
think child marriage should be outlawed?
Real quick, but hold on. You switched it because a second ago you said that someone who's an adult is someone that completed puberty and that could have between 15 and 17. Now all of a sudden you're saying under 18. So I'm very confused on which time
Sure,
you want.
let me clarify.
Let me finish. Now, regarding Islam, our stance is very simple. Islam is going to be dependent upon the circumstances of the individuals. Meaning, if it was the case that at a specific point in time, it wouldn't entail physical or mental harm, and someone would have been post-pubescent and fully mature, then the marriage can be done, right? However, if it is going to entail, such as today, and this is the people according to Peter D. Gluckman, when he mentioned this, if it is going to entail harm today, meaning that people can attain pubescence, but they don't attain monarchy, right? It is going to be the case that today would entail harm, therefore would not be allowed Islamically. It's very simple. Now, regarding your point regarding how, we know that there's humans around the world that have justified bad things happening in society. Well, the thing is, we're talking about a universal aspect, meaning that all humans, everyone who's critiquing Muhammad, none of them recognize this something that's inherently abhorrent.
Well, hold up. Now, I got to address, you've been going for a while. Let me address all these points. Finish. You get 20
now,
seconds.
Paul is the one that appeals to natural law. Obviously, we know that when it comes to natural law, when it comes to knowing these things that are known by disposition, they are known prior to revelation. Right? So if it is the case that they're known prior to revelation, we'd expect at least someone to make that critique.
Okay, now I'm going to respond. You've talked for a while. I'm going to go on for a couple minutes here. So first of all, not everyone around the world had access to the Hadith. Okay, there's a problem here. It's not like we had a big global community and all voted, I think Muhammad was bad. This happened in 1857. No, it did not happen. So this is, you're appealing to something that just did not happen. So let's go back to me trying to tell you what a child is here. Let's start with this because we need to get over this, okay? So no puberty is complete between the ages of 15 or 17. We can't, as a society, constantly be going around checking hip development, Tanner stage 5 development. That is impractical. So we just assign adulthood to the age of 18. That's still far better than 9. That's the problem right there. Now, if you want to talk to what ancient people did, we can talk about that. So Michael Satlow, talking about the ancient Jews in Palestine, said they were marrying on girls on average between the ages of mid-teens to early 20s. Amram Troper says late teens to early 20s. Brent Shaw in the Roman Empire, he says late teens to early 20s, so does Keith Hopkins. Then you get to the Middle Ages. Kim Phillips in her book Medieval Maiden says again, yeah, that's the thing. So it was not a normal practice to be marrying a 6-year-old, let alone. This is evil, and if Muhammad is the pattern of conduct, that's setting a bad example. That's going to lead to all sorts of harm, as it has around the world. UNICEF reports high levels of child marriage in North Africa, in the Middle East. This is horrible.
Beautiful.
We are torturing these girls. Why would we not want to reject that and say, yes, child marriage should be outlawed around the world. No one should be getting married around the ages of under the ages of 18. And yes, if you're going to bring up random U.S. states that allow it, I condemn them as well.
Hold on, guys. Did you know that over 8?
So yeah, it's like, I mean, it's really only like 3 of them that's talking, and it's like they're coming up with all kind of reason to make it okay. Like, it's not okay, bro. We're talking about is it better for society today? And they're just coming up with these excuses, like, bro, just it's better off for them to say either yes or no. That's it. But they like to go into explaining stuff, and it just dig them in a deeper hole.
80% of people that watch these videos are not subscribed.
So wait,
Let's give the audience a second to subscribe. And if they want to let's give the audience a. Now let's get back to the discussion.
the topic is, right, Christianity versus Islam, which one's better for society. So what he's saying to you in regards to Paul appealing to natural law, etc., that's going to be the criteria that we're going by here, right? We're going by Christianity versus Islam. Islam itself doesn't give a particular age, it gives a criteria. Christianity
And I say that's
does,
bad.
1 second.
I say that's bad.
Christianity also does the same thing. It doesn't give a particular age, okay? I think you appeal sometimes to Ezekiel 16. There's also the passage in 1 Corinthians 7, right? Neither of those two gives an age. They only give a physical, or, you know, yeah. So
Let me address that.
I'm not done.
Okay, finish up. I want to address the passages you brought up.
Okay, so I'm not appealing to the passages in particular, by the way. But my point being is that in you saying there's a particular age that we have to go by, etc., well, that age is not something that's going to hold up in regards to society for every single society. As he quoted for you from Peter D. Gluckman's paper, menarche and mental maturity is something which used to be in line at some point, and now what we find is a fluctuation between the two of them, whereby in today's society, we don't find them being the same. They're going to be vastly different.
Right.
Go ahead.
Okay, so
Yeah.
hold on. Let me address her, then we'll go to you. So on this whole issue, so Yes, I agree that it doesn't set an age, but Ezekiel 16 says that you cannot, the age for love making does not happen until after she has basically completed puberty. The breasts are fully formed, her hair is fully grown. She has to
Which
complete it.
translation is
Hold on,
asking?
let me finish. So that's the issue right there. But again, at the end of the day, we're talking about the effects of society. Christian societies are outlawing this. We don't see 9-year-olds getting married in America. We don't see it happening in Europe. This is bad. But you guys over here are saying, yes, it's perfectly fine to take a girl to...
We literally
And we
said-
should be okay with
we already
that.
said that we shouldn't do that because of the studies that we've shown you, and you're not responding to them
Yeah,
for some reason.
just,
Can you have sex?
Nobody should be having intercourse with someone who's 9 years old because
So
that
then
would-
Muhammad was a sin.
No, it doesn't follow.
Insofar as today.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't
No, it
follow. It's just- You know why it
doesn't.
doesn't follow? Because at that point, it didn't entail harm.
Yes, it did.
Okay, and I'm giving you a reason why it didn't.
Yes, it did.
Can you address that? According to Peter D. Gluckman.
What's the name of the paper?
Development.
Evolution, development, and the timing of puberty.
Exactly, beautiful. And he makes the conclusion in his.
They trying to like share a source and IP name it right off the bat. Like, bro, I read all this stuff before. I already know what you about to say. I studied this stuff. IP is super smart. But let me hear them out. Let's just see what they got to say.
graph that there was a point when menarche and pubescence were in correlation. That is no longer the case.
No, you're confusing the chart. The chart is age of menarche and social cycle development.
Exactly.
That's the point, though.
Were they matching at some point?
What was that? Yeah, they were.
Are they
Yeah.
matching? Are they matching today?
No, they're not. No, but that's not the
Beautiful.
point.
Thank
the
you.
point is that the green on the chart, what you're pulling up there, the green shows when age of menarche happened. And at that time, they're saying, well, you know, the girls didn't need that much education.
Guarantee you they clip that part. I know what part they're gonna clip. They'll clip something. They'll hurry up. Ooh, I got one clip, and then they don't play the rest of it. And now watch what he say right here.
At that time to develop. So they could be more implemented in society quicker. But now we have more education because it's better for them. Thank good for the West promoting more education. Amen to
And
that.
Islam.
So
And Islam,
so let's go on to that. So, but that's the problem. Age of menarche did not happen according to that paper at 9. There is no possible
That's
way. Hold on,
irrelevant.
let me
That's
finish.
literally
Let me
straw
finish.
man.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
There is no possible way that Aisha could have reached puberty, could have had her first period at 9, according to the paper you cited, because that shows it had to happen after the age of 10, and that was at least 1% only.
Wait, hold on. So you agreed with me earlier when I first asked you in regards to somebody getting pregnant, they would have to have their period first, right?
Yes, and Aisha couldn't.
Okay, but I gave you an example. You said it's an impossibility. Is it logically impossible
Is it logically impossible for what?
for somebody to not have their period before 9 or at 9?
No, wait, hold on. What are you saying? This doesn't
You said
follow what I was
it's
saying.
impossible for her to have had her period by then, correct?
Biologically, yes.
Okay, and I gave you an example of today.
Today,
Modern day.
yes.
Yeah, modern day, a girl who's at the age of 5 had her period and she was pregnant as well.
Yeah.
My question would have been, okay, do you think it's okay now? Since if that child at 5 had their period and had a child at the age of or got pregnant at the age of 5, do you think it's okay for that to happen today? Do you think that's okay? Since it happened today, do you think that's okay though? Do you think it's okay? I want to know if IP gonna answer that. I would have answered like, all right, cool. If that happened, do you think it's okay? Do you think it's okay if this guy right beside you get a 5-year-old pregnant? Do you think it's okay? I would have asked her that. Would you get a 5-year-old pregnant? Like, is that okay? I would ask them that question.
So it's not impossible.
So basically what you're saying is there was this crazy genetic
She's not the
fluke.
only- no, it's
Hold
not
up,
the
hold up.
only thing.
The
I'm giving you
reason
an
why that can
example
happen
by
today
name.
is because according to the paper you cited,
Right.
nutrition has gotten better. And if nutrition got better, that means the age of menarche starts to lower. But in the time of Muhammad, it wasn't. It was higher.
Really?
So yeah, that's
that's
what
what
the
the
chart
study
that's what the chart
says,
says.
though.
The study says more than that, though.
One second,
No, that's what the
guys.
chart
I'm sorry, I'm
says.
sorry.
That's what the
Real
chart
quick,
says.
Yeah, so Imam al-Shafi'i, okay, he's somebody who comes after Muhammad, peace be upon him. He speaks about the individuals of his time period,
Right.
as well as Aisha radiallahu anha, by the way, but this is afterwards. So Imam al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah, he speaks about the people that come after in his time period, okay, and he says that he has observed with his own eyes where an individual who was 9 years old, okay, she gave birth to one child, and then her child
Where's it
gave
say
birth.
that?
Yeah, this
What
is
source?
Crazy part is he's smiling over here like he think they really cooking. Bro, that's morally wrong still. We ain't even gotta say 5 or 9. Shoot. A 13-year-old getting a 16-year-old getting pregnant. I find that there's something wrong with that. Honestly, even 17, I find something wrong with that. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even think we can even, bro, we can start at 19 or 20 if you want to. I think it become an issue because at like 20, you're just now getting out of high school. Like, you're not ready for no child. I got to. At around those ages, at very young age, I mean, it can be done, but it's just not, you're not really ready for real. But they're talking about 9, bro. 9? Come on. People don't even have 9-year-old babysitters. Like they tripping.
This is in his books.
Where was the source?
It's Risala.
So it's an Islamic
Risala.
source.
He's a historian.
He's observing
because
it.
he's someone that's contemporary to that time and he's making an observation.
So according to you, so again, I said this was an external critique. I'm
my
saying
goodness.
that if that was
Does that mean we're
can't
talking about
happen.
historical
we're talking about
According-
historical
You've studied
dates.
now 2 sources that contradict each other. The paper, Evolution, Development, and the Timing of Puberty, shows that could not have happened.
No, it
But then
doesn't-
you
it doesn't-
said,
wait, where does
but
it say
according
that
to our
it could-
Islamic
wait,
sources,
where does it say that could not
hold
happen?
up. According to the Islamic
Who
sources,
say that?
it did
says
happen.
literally they can have earlier
Therefore,
miracles.
you just said Islam contradicts reality. Thank you.
So real quick, you're making a few blunders. First of all, the study never says it couldn't have happened because the study, number one, it doesn't account for the specific sample within Middle Eastern countries. That's number one, and it doesn't account for anomalies. That's number two. Number three, Imam al-Shafi'i in Risala, he does mention this, and he's someone that's contemporary to
So
that
let's
time.
go on that. Anomalies. We're talking about which is better. Anomalies.
You know what's sad is we shouldn't even be we shouldn't even be debating this. For real. This shouldn't even be a debate, bro. This should not even be an argument. They should just be like, you know what? Hey, we don't agree with that. We do think that's wrong. And if I really want to be a Muslim or whatever, I'd just be like, look, yo, I don't agree with that. You know, I'm still gonna be a Muslim if you really want to be a Muslim, whatever, for whatever case, like, and just say that. But they just keep coming up with an argument for what they're defending this stuff, man. That is crazy.
So
Okay,
if an
no.
anomaly happens, it's okay to have sex with them?
Can you just let me finish? Again,
It's okay to have sex with
let
them?
me finish. So, no, you shouldn't do that. I already clarified.
Whoa, okay, good,
So,
good,
so,
good.
so
Keep going.
let me finish. So again, we know in the case, according to the study, in the case that someone is pubescent at that time, it wouldn't entail harm. That's by your concession because you said
No, I didn't.
You see that because you said that it's not it's not possible for Aisha to have been pubescent. If it was the case, then according to you and the conclusion they made from the study, then it would follow indeed, right?
You're taking what I said out of context.
No.
No, let me clarify.
Let me know.
I did not say harm. I said there was no. I was talking about prepubescent. Aisha was prepubescent.
we
according to the
disagree with
paper.
that.
Yeah, we
So at that
disagree.
point,
By
but
her
in
own
terms of
words, she says
harm,
that she wasn't.
when I was talking about harm, I mentioned physical and mental harm as well.
Beautiful.
So it doesn't matter. You're having teen, a
Doesn't matter.
preteen, anything, it's going to be harmful to them. We should reject this. Sex with anyone under 18 should be outlawed.
Is that according to
Islam says it's
Christianity?
okay.
Is that
That's
Can
evil.
we make like a final point and move to
Hold on, hold
the
on.
second
Yeah.
I
point?
just want to know, is that according to Christianity or is that according to
Again, Ezekiel 16,
modern,
yes.
modern secular
According to
society?
Ezekiel 16.
Ezekiel 16
What
doesn't give you a
translation?
number. It
'Cause,
doesn't say
yeah,
18.
it
just
says
gives
entered
you-
puberty in the
Wait,
NIV.
No.
Yeah, and it gives you,
Let me
it
read
gives
it.
you, hold on, it gives
I
you
gotta read it
certain
then.
indications of
Hold
pubescence,
up, let me
which
read
we
it.
also don't disagree with, right?
Let me read it.
Pubic hair, the growing of breasts, etc. Those are also indications that we have as well. So that doesn't contradict Islam.
So when does puberty complete?
yeah, again, it completes when the
Can
individual
we-
goes
let's-
through all of
let's
these.
When
allow-
does puberty
Yeah,
complete?
Let's just to get a word in as well.
So when puberty completes between the ages of 15 or 17.
Is
So
that
it
the
says
case
here in
everywhere?
Ezekiel 16 when he's talking about the girl, he says, "Okay, I made you flourish like a plant of the field."
Wait, so 15
and
is
you
okay,
grew up- hold
Happy?
up, you go, man, calm down. It's
Go
all
ahead.
good. So
Go ahead.
I'm just reading. And you grew up and became tall and arrived at full adornment. Your breasts were formed, and your hair had grown, yet you were naked and bare. When I passed by you again, I saw you, and behold, you were at the age of lovemaking. So when the breasts are formed, when she is fully formed, then is the age for lovemaking. So according to this principle in Christianity that we get from the Bible, no, you have to wait till she is finished. That's the age of lovemaking. Meanwhile, in Islam, you're saying, no, it can happen before that. That's bad, that's harmful. The studies all show this. Do you deny that the studies don't show child marriage is harmful?
No, I agree with that. We already got
You
this.
agree that? Okay,
and
great.
Under Islam,
Great.
wait,
Holy
real quick.
straw man.
And under Islam,
It's straw man. Yeah. I mean, hey, bro, if I was them, I'll just stop right there, agree, and then be like, you know what, yo, I agree. Just take a L on that one. All right, move on to the next topic. That's all you gotta do. They want to try to win everything.
harmful is going to be impermissible. Now, let's get that out of the way.
Hey, quick break from the show. I want to give a big shout out to Logos. So Logos is actually my favorite Bible study app. You could actually use it to look back words all the way back to the original Greek. You could ask it questions so you could get 60 days so you could just see.
Such thing as having intimacy with a prepubescent.
You have not.
We have.
No,
we
you-
have. But
Did
actually, that's not
Muhammad,
that's
did
not
Muhammad
that's not
consummate the marriage at 9?
That's not.
Did he consummate the marriage at 9?
Does 9 automatically necessitate a child?
Yes. Did he
No,
consummate
it
the marriage at 9?
doesn't. You still haven't proven that.
Yeah,
You
there
haven't
is
proven
no
that. You
poss-
literally just said 15 to 17. Okay, fine. Is that the case globally? Is that
Yes.
no, it's not.
Yes, it
I could literally
and I
bring
can
you
explain to you
PubMed
why. I can
papers
explain
right
to you
now.
why.
Hold on,
I can
hold on,
explain
hold on.
why.
I
Very
wasn't done.
simple.
I wasn't done. I'm
I
not
can
done.
explain to you
I'm not
really
done.
why.
I'm
It's
not done.
quite simple. Hip development.
Okay.
Hip development.
Oh my God. Yeah, PubMed says that when it comes to puberty and when it comes to menarche, there's a paper. I could cite it for you if you want. I could
about
bring it for you
menarche
right
at
now.
this point.
Okay. It literally says that pubescence can be achieved at different points, and it's achieved via different social standards. When it comes to geographic, when it comes to economic, these are all different
Does it say
factors
it's
that come into
completed?
place. It literally talks about
Being
the
completed.
individuals going through puberty.
Being completed.
Yeah, so it goes from the age of 11 all the way up until
Being
the age of
completed.
17 to 18. It's
Being
completely different.
anything
what
show
you're
hip
saying.
development is complete at age 11.
Yeah, so it's talking
No,
about puberty.
there are none. It is biologically impossible for the hips of a girl to not be complete
Yeah, we
until the
can
age
we can
of
allow
15 to
you
17.
can make that up, and then we want to move on to the other facts as well, because if you just hone on one thing, then we're not going to be
But
able
I just want to know,
There's-
did
there's-
Muhammad
there's- there's-
consummate the marriage with a 9-year-old?
No.
He did not.
Look, what I'm saying.
She
What I'm
wasn't
saying here.
9,
What I'm
yes or
saying-
no?
what
You're
I'm
not saying no to that.
Just
you're
say
saying
yes or no and expound.
What I'm saying here is that she was not a child at the time of marriage. She's not a child at the time of consummation. In fact, even in the traditional account, there's a waiting period. Now, this comes to the other angle that I was trying to get to, is why do marriages take place in the first place? Marriages take place not just for intimacy. They take place, especially for a leader, they take place to establish alliances. And this, in a way, goes back to the issue of polygamy.
Who was Aisha's father?
Abu Bakr.
Oh, he did establish an alliance with him?
You don't understand how the Eastern culture is. Eastern culture is when you want to bring people together for various political or social reasons, you do so through the vehicle of marriage.
That doesn't change anything I'm saying, though.
No,
A
well, I'm-
9-year-old
no,
is
no,
always
hold
a
on,
child.
Hold on.
Always a child. What Muhammad did was evil. He's not a good moral example. He should be thrown out because he's actually causing all sorts of
What
harm.
about Yahweh?
We see this happening in Iraq. We see
Yahweh,
this happening in
Moses.
Sudan, in Yemen, where they think it's okay to start sleeping with children.
I guess
Unfortunately,
Moses
you're
says the
just
same
appealing
thing,
to the
though.
emotions. That's it. That's all you're doing. You're appealing. You're
I
appealing.
can cite studies. You want some studies?
You're appealing to emotions.
So you think it's okay to... I just want to be clear.
No, nobody said that on the panel.
No one said
I
that.
don't know. Wait, one second, real quick. I don't know why you keep going back to that same question we already answered like a few times.
You didn't answer.
No, we already
She
said
quite
no.
literally said
Nobody today should be married.
I'm not talking about today. I'm talking about Muhammad.
Let me finish.
I'm talking about Muhammad. Did Muhammad do something immoral?
No, we don't believe that.
Okay, so sleeping, having is not immoral.
Hey, brother,
presence
this
is a fallacy.
exactly what you're doing. You're saying that, hey, it was, it's immoral today, therefore it must have been immoral back then. But you would even agree, Mr. IP, that there's things that we can derive through reason, and over time we can trial and test. For example, according to you in Deuteronomy 22, 28 to 29, your Yahweh bit, it says that if somebody grapes a child, they can marry that child, right?
No, it doesn't. No, it does not. That is a lie.
Let me land.
That is a lie. That's not what the word,
Can
that's
you-
not what tafas means.
One
No.
second. Now,
Well, it is
so
what
real quick.
Paidan means.
Now,
It is
you
what
would say
Paidan means.
you would say that, hey, that at that specific time point would be moral. But because, let me land.
No.
But because of how society operates today, because of what we know as Islam as urf, or aka accustoming to the natural custom of society, therefore will be deemed impermissible through reason, natural theology.
So, okay, good. So we use our reason.
Beautiful.
So we need to develop on what the law
Thank you.
taught. No,
So, wait, do
hold on,
you think that's not
just
Islam?
he just kept talking. Now he wants to keep going. He won't
ahead.
let me respond. You see how that worked? Kind of weird, isn't it? So anyway, let's go back to this. So here's the problem. You can't do that. Muhammad is getting revelations from supposedly an omniscient God.
Was
And
Yahweh
it's saying,
given
hold
revelation?
up. And he's saying, you are the pattern of conduct for humanity. Oh, by the way, you can have there, according to him, because he got some dream from Allah.
Same
that
as
actually
Yahweh
was
in
his.
Deuteronomy.
So
Right.
at that point, now you can't say that. Now Allah is wrong. You need to use reason and science to
Yahweh's
show
wrong
that he
too,
is
guys.
wrong. This is a problem for you.
Beautiful. So again, IP for some odd reason believes that reason and the revelation given in the Quran are going to be incompatible. No, that's not true.
It
Because, one second, as Sunni Muslims, we believe that there's going to be things that are inherently immoral, such as injustice, for example, prior to revelation. For example, in Islam, just give me a second. In Islam, we believe that drinking alcohol is going to be impermissible. That is going to lead to a greater harm, which Christian societies allow, right? However, there is going to be circumstances, for example, where you need to survive, where there's nothing accessible to you.
How he tried to throw a little quick jab in there about alcohol. they love doing that.
But you do need to drink alcohol. So guess what? Islam, in that specific condition, allows reason to say that, hey, this thing is going to be the only viable way to live, therefore it's going to be permissible. So yes, Islam is compatible with natural law. It is compatible with reconciling specific commands over time.
Great. So reason, let's go on that.
Now, you said the thing, Muhammad is said to receive revelation. Well, according to Yahweh, when it's spoken in Deuteronomy, is also given revelation. That's not a defeater to the argument. You have to show why is it the case that Deuteronomy gave the law to marry children, yet we don't do it today, right?
So let me get back to this. My main point, can you marry a 9-year-old? Is that allowed in Islam?
No, today no.
Today, no. So it was. It was.
Right.
So what? So in that
And in
time,
Deuteronomy, you could have married children, and now you can't.
See, keep, won't let me talk.
But you don't
This
want to
is
address
what
the
we're-
I'm
Bro, shut up. Please. I'm sorry. This guy right here is annoying. He is annoying. I respect Sarah. I'll be real. And hey, Sarah probably see this because me and him have discussions on Instagram in the DMs all the time. I think he's a respectful guy. I have no problem with him. I don't. This guy right here is he's a little annoying to deal with. I understand that in debates things get heated, but this guy right here, yeah, he's just that's to him. Itachi, I don't know. They do little weird stuff on Twitter too, though. So, but, bro, just hush for a second.
I'm showing you the double standard.
I'm going to get to
Get to the
Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy
I'm
one.
going to
Right.
get to Deuteronomy.
he's gonna get to Deuteronomy.
So
He's
gonna get
you're
to
talking about Deuteronomy 28, right?
22,
22, 28.
Yep.
Yeah. So going back to my point about child marriage, though. Okay, you just basically became a moral relativist. Okay, because now the point now. Let me finish.
IP, you think that's
Calm
moral
down.
relativism?
Habibi,
Go ahead.
Habibi, calm down, Mehdi. It's gonna be okay. So, because now.
He come down.
Okay, now it's okay to have a girl in the time of Muhammad, and it caused all the harm then. But now, because we've used reason and science, we can now know that the guidance that Allah was giving
That's not
Muhammad.
moral relativism.
Man, there he
Wait,
goes
hold on.
again.
What
There he
happened
goes
to
again. There he goes
Deuteronomy,
again. There he goes
Go
again.
ahead.
Did
Sorry.
he just say he was going to get
So
to Deuteronomy?
now we can use we can now use reason and guidance to know that Allah was wrong. Thank you. Islam. The guidance it gave that through Muhammad was wrong. Let's get to Deuteronomy 22
Yes,
now.
yes.
The word is tafas.
Oh,
That is
what about in the Greek?
Hold up.
What's in the
Now,
Greek?
hold up. It's a Hebrew, man. So the
but
word
what
is
about the
tafas. So we don't want to go on the original language. So look at
Wait.
We can't use the original.
Disciples
They
don't
said they
go
wanted to get to
Septuagint?
Deuteronomy 22.
Okay,
Now they don't want to talk.
Let him
Yeah,
finish
okay.
his
Wait,
Deuteronomy
wait.
point, and then we'll let you
So let me
respond.
get.
Okay,
So the
fine.
word
Go
is
ahead.
tafas. That is the same word used in Genesis when the wife of Potiphar grabs Joseph's cloak and says, "Come to bed with me." That does not mean rape. When you said it meant rape, it lied. You're going off the NIV translation. That is wrong. It just means to sort of flirtatiously seize. And we see that in the parallel passage in Exodus when it talks about when a man seduces a girl and they're found, then you'll pay those shekels to the father.
There's a big problem with that, though, is that the Latin Vulgate translates Deuteronomy 22, 28 to 29 the same way as it translates 25 to 27, which you already agree is about
It's
rape.
Latin.
So there's no point of taking 28 to 29 to not be about rape when your earliest Christians translate and understand it to be about rape.
They were wrong.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, that's the difference. That's the difference. See,
convenient.
I can use reason.
How
and I can,
convenient.
notice the difference
The
here.
ones are all
Notice
wrong.
the difference.
They're all
Notice the
wrong.
difference. I use actually the Bible to show you what the word means. They go, but these later Latin translators didn't agree with you. I don't care. I'm using the
So
Hebrew.
everybody was right.
Later Latin translators. Yeah, IP. They think they are winning because like IP, like, of course, IP you could tell like they get on his nerves. IP just look like a guy who's can be hot headed, right? And they just getting on his nerves. But IP studied that stuff, like he studied philosophy and stuff. So um he just said like later Latin translation. There are some stuff that can be wrong.
And you're the only one that's.
No,
you're the only one that's right.
Hey, if the shoe fits, my brother, the shoe fits. I'll take it.
I guess he didn't have the Holy Spirit.
You hinged on one of the wrong issue. Okay, the issue isn't regarding tefas and whether they were graped or not graped. The issue is the word paida in the LXX. You agree the LXX?
So Sarah he loved to look at like words and stuff. That's his thing. He loved to look at words and like meanings and stuff. I noticed that when I was like talking to him in the DMs.
Is used by the disciples, correct? It's a valid source that the
They
Bible
don't use
uses.
that one. They don't say that. No.
Oh, they don't. Just conveniently, they don't use that
No,
one. But
special LXX.
is it a source that they use?
They use the Septuagint as a source for like prophecy, typology, that kind of stuff.
Right, and they get them wrong there.
But
too.
Matthew
No
also uses
problem.
the
They
Hebrew.
get
It
it
doesn't
wrong
change
there, too.
anything.
They
This
get it
is
wrong
so
there, too.
irrelevant to
So
the overall point.
in the LXX, does it use the word paida?
I don't have to look it up. That's irrelevant to the point.
Look it up.
No. I want to get back to the point. This is
Look it
so
up.
irrelevant. I already addressed this.
How is it
No,
irrelevant?
wait,
Do you
how is that
agree?
irrelevant?
Do you agree that it is wrong to have in Christian
topic
society?
switch.
I keep right from the
Hold on,
top.
hold on.
You have said that question a bunch of
Okay,
times.
Exactly. And he answered it like 50
Let me
times.
land my main point. Then I will land my main point here. Okay.
Back to square one.
Also now, like, can actually
The
progress
problem
this.
is that we're talking.
They never really like answer it because they beat it around the bush and then they be like, oh yeah, it's wrong, but so yeah.
About which society is going to produce better. Sorry, which religion is going
Okay,
to
but
produce?
we want to get across multiple points.
There we go.
Right, sorry,
Yeah.
no, just real quick.
I'm trying to wrap up so we can. Don't
Go ahead,
worry,
bro.
okay? The point we're trying to get is which is actually producing. I'm over here saying that Christian societies has outlawed this stuff. It's wrong. It's evil. You guys are saying, no, it can happen in some circumstances, and therefore it's okay. That's the point I'm trying to drive home here. You guys keep saying it's okay to have if the circumstances allow, but that's what Islam teaches. And then you're just saying, well, reason and science says that we can't. Great, reason and science contradict Islam, and we use that instead of Islam. That's my point. So we get back to the main point.
All right, we'll let you guys close out on this topic.
All right, beautiful. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of problems. You said that it's been totally banned, but we see historically speaking, like it's found in A Lily Among the Thorns, that historically speaking, Christians would use verses like Numbers 31 and Deuteronomy 22 to justify raping young girls and finding that to be holy. Also, you're trying to like completely just ignore the Septuagint, but your Christian saints like Augustine and stuff make arguments that if the Torah is preserved, then it's preserved in all recessions, including the Septuagint. So we have to look at the texts and compare the Hebrew and the Septuagint and understand the meanings from both of them. You can't just only look at the Hebrew, you have to look at the Hebrew and the Septuagint. And in the Septuagint, it uses the word force and child. So the child is being forced to be married.
No, it's not true.
Yeah, so just one more thing to add to what you were saying specifically. So when we're looking at modern day societies as well, you're saying that because these things don't occur in Christian societies, that therefore means, and that they do occur in Islamic societies, that therefore means that Islam is worse for, for society in general than Christianity. Is that basically
I'm saying yes,
summarized?
because
That's what you're saying, right?
Well,
I'm not done. I just want to make sure that's what you
one
said.
sentence.
Okay, go ahead.
Because you guys even acknowledge Islam is allowing with girls under 18,
We said
that is going to
no,
produce
like
worse
10
results.
times,
Don't
but
say it, don't
anyway,
say it.
yeah, anyway.
They won't even let me make the sentence.
Well, yeah, it was,
He said
you
it.
said it
Let
was
me
my
make the
conclusion.
sentence.
Yeah.
Calm
It's been like
down.
10
Okay.
sentences, but
That
go
is
ahead.
going to produce worse societies by your own admission. Yes, it will, because the studies show it does.
Cool. So the problem is, do you know what Mill's method of difference is?
I don't
guys
remember
stop
off the top of my head.
asking
Okay. I'm sorry.
What happens is you guys ask him a
okay.
question. and then
It's kind of rhetorical.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I can explain it, no problem. Mill's method of difference just simply tells us that if it's the case that we're proposing that some sort of thing has a commonality between two particular events. So in this case, let's talk, for example, a Christian society that has many gangs and a Christian society that doesn't have any gangs. Okay. The individual who's coming to a conclusion saying that, oh, because this society is Christian, it therefore has many gangs, is going to be wrong because there is not only, it does not occur only in one society. There is there has to be some other sufficient cause such that it would say that this is the reason why it's occurring in this society and in that one. Okay, good. So is it the case that it's occurring in every single Muslim society that there is child marriage?
I don't remember the statistics off the top of my head. But that doesn't change the point.
Wait, does it occur in every single Muslim society?
Just finish your point, and then we're going to move into.
You
my
guys
question is-
acknowledged already that Islam is allowing and teaching this.
Does
we didn't.
my question
Didn't Yahweh commend the child marriage in Deuteronomy 22? Like, what is this?
No, I didn't. No.
We've already
Ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
Actually, let me share something. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
perfect.
Let me interrupt.
You're the boss.
Okay. So there is a gentleman by the name of Hans Kuhn, Catholic theologian, not necessarily a friend of Islam. Okay, not necessarily a friend of Islam. He has some criticism of Islam, but the issue is about about society, about what religion is good for society. So this is what he has to say. Again,
He's a theologian, right?
he's a Catholic theologian.
Theologian. Okay. Just want to make sure we know his credentials.
Yes. You want to go Google his name?
No, I'm going to talk to some sociologists later. But
All right, go ahead. So is Islam a religion of the law? Originally, it was not a religion of the law, but the religion of an ethic. The Quran is concerned with ethical imperatives for human society, not all of which were new. However, on the new basis of faith, these norms work in favor of more justice, fairness, restraint, moderation, mediation, compassion, and forgiveness.
What's his evidence?
And he has a lot of evidence here. I just gave you one
What's
quote.
his evidence?
I mean,
Beautiful.
you
No, I want to ask him. What's your evidence? What's your
I mean,
evidence
it's
that it causes more justice?
a very long quotation.
Because
here.
I can cite actual researchers, like sociologists.
So you think we think this is a
goodness.
crackhead or something?
My goodness. Now, he's a theologian according to your admission. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to cite an actual book. It's called The Price of Freedom Denied, written by actual researchers in the field. They say no. Islamic societies cause more persecution. No. They cause more discrimination than Christian Western societies.
No,
actually, I have they put actual research. They run an actual sociological model behind it. So actually, no. I can just cite them and say, no, that your theologian is wrong. The sociologists are correct.
Look, Islam historically gave freedom of religion.
What? Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm going to scoot down here for a minute. Hold on.
Why were the Jews flourishing?
Hold up.
Why were the Jews flourishing in Spain and persecuting the rest of Christian Europe?
I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian.
No, okay,
if I
you're a
lived under
Christian.
Sharia law, could I proselytize Muslims?
I mean, you can try, but it doesn't mean you're going to go anywhere with
I
it.
can proselytize Muslims under Sharia law.
Yeah,
I can go out and say, yes,
can we add to
please
this?
convert to Christianity.
Right. So we can add to this real quick. So when it comes to rulings and how they apply throughout history, we would obviously have to use like a bigger sample size in terms of when you look at, for example, how Umar ibn Khattab.
Don't answer the question, cause you just like to butt in and be. He like to answer for everybody. This man taught majority of. It really was IP versus TMA, really.
To the Jews.
Just answer the question. Can I proselytize?
Real quick.
Biblically speaking, you can't.
Exactly. You cannot. So no, I do not have freedom of religion.
At least she answered. At least she answered.
You don't have freedom of religion under Islam.
Exactly.
According to Deuteronomy
I don't think
13,
you
you
heard what you said.
can't.
Yeah.
We're
You
talking
would
about
have your
Islam.
whole city
Talk about
committed
Deuteronomy.
genocide.
No,
So
we're
we're
talking
talking
about Answer the
Christianity
question.
and Islam.
Under
Bye-bye to your
Sharia,
city.
under Sharia,
Under Sharia,
can
you
I
can't, and under
proselytize?
Christianity, you can't.
Okay,
under
so
both.
there we go.
Under both.
So under Sharia, no, we do not
Notice
have
he
freedom
doesn't
of
wanna
religion,
address
as I
the
just
Christian
said.
part.
I cannot proselytize. Do
So
you disagree with them?
why were the Jews?
Do you disagree with them?
Why were the Jews in Spain for 800 years during Muslim rule? And why, when the Muslims were kicked out, why did the Jews go to Muslim areas? Why did they go to Morocco? Why did they go to Iran and Turkey and the rest of North Africa? Why did they go?
Because they got kicked out. That doesn't change the
Why
point.
did they get kicked out? They got kicked out.
Yeah.
Why did they get kicked out? They got kicked out. They were previously tolerated and flourished in Muslim Spain.
No,
Yes.
that's a miss. That's a miss.
That's not a miss.
according to
That's
Maimonides-
not a
Hold
miss.
up,
That's not a miss.
You've
That's
been
not a
talking.
miss. That's
You've been
not- I haven't been
talking.
talking at all.
You've been talking.
By the way, don't address the
Maimonides said no.
Christian
The Ishmaelites have been the worst people to us, and they forced them to convert under the Almohad Empire. So no,
You're talking
there was-
about Ottoman
Hold
Empire.
on.
I'm not talking about Ottoman Empire. It was
You were just talking about
the same guy in
Spain.
Muslim
Spain is not part of the Ottoman Empire.
Wow.
Spain,
Almohads-
Spain was not part of the Ottoman Empire.
No, I said Almohad.
Are you saying it right?
Almohad.
What's
You don't know who
saying?
the Almohads are?
Muwahhidun?
The
Trying to say Muwahhidun?
Almohad. My goodness.
It's not my fault. You're saying words wrong.
Do you know who the Almoravids are? So in Spain, so let's do some history here because I don't think you know it. Okay, so
ahead.
the Almoravids come in after the collapse of the caliphate in there under the House of Cordoba. They take over.
You're talking about Wahidun.
In Spain, in Al-Andalus, okay? Then after that comes in the Almohads, and they rule in Spain. Maimonides is living under them. Maimonides said the Ishmaelites have been the worst to us of all people. They oppressed, they forced convert, they had all sorts of sex slavery going on. It was awful. So this idea that you have, you don't even know the history. You don't even know who the Almohads are. So how do you know this was such a good time?
I'll give you one even earlier, okay, during the time period of Umar radiallahu anh. So the second caliph of Muhammad, peace be upon him.
And I'm not giving much like reaction to this because I haven't studied like the in depth of like the whole child and puberty and stuff, but I just know that like 9-year-old, 6-year-old, all that is wrong. So like honestly, I don't really care to study about that. If I'm really being honest, it's wrong. Like I don't care what they say. I don't care what type of reason they have behind it. It's wrong. It's just wrong. Like I don't care what type of excuse you have. It's wrong. If you're gonna accept that it's wrong or not.
So it says here, this is Moshe Gil's book, okay, so he's a Jew. He says, similarly, his contemporary Salmon ben Yerubim, in his Arabic commentary, he wrote, as we know, the temple remained in the hands of the Romans for more than 500 years, and they did not succeed in entering Jerusalem, speaking about the Jews. And anyone who did this was recognized as a Jew, was put to death. But when the Romans left it by the mercy of the God of Israel and the kingdom of Ishmael was victorious, Israel was permitted to come and to live. So this is under the Islamic rule of Omar radiallahu anh. He's the one who allows for them. I could quote you another reference where he talks about how he's the one who invited 70 families from the Jews to come back into Jerusalem.
Save them from who?
To save them from the Christians.
The Catholic Christians?
The Catholic Christians.
Oh, the Roman
All right,
Christians?
so
Okay.
let's now address that. Now, so where are the Jews now living today?
Yeah, many different
Yes,
places of the world.
the numbers have depleted throughout the Middle East because of horrible oppression that is
Wait, are you
happening
going to address
now.
the point of Umar al-Khattab allowing them?
I'm going to address it. Yeah.
So why did they allow them to live?
Man, my
Go ahead.
goodness, man.
Okay,
It's four people versus one. They won't even let me talk. It's insane.
Yeah, we should talk about the topic that we're bringing
We're
up,
talking
though.
about what is better. And as both of these religions have developed societies, clearly the Christian West has allowed a lot more religious freedom, as the sociological research shows. Again, the book, The Price of Freedom Denied, shows that in the Middle East, Jews, Christian, heterodox groups, like the Alawites, for example, or the Baha'i, they are being oppressed on high levels versus what's happening in the West. So yeah, as these religions develop societies, Christianity has led to far less oppression than what we see in Islam. This is backed by research, therefore Christianity is better for society. By the way, Jonathan Fox found similar results.
Okay, so historically speaking, right, because that's what we were talking about earlier, but
He's really right. Christianity is better for society. Cause go over there in Pakistan and see for yourself. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's really crazy. I know some people who live over there. It's crazy. So they really just coming up with excuses now.
now you're bringing back Western Christianity, which I don't even agree there is such a thing. It's going to be, if there is, it's going to be in like places like Brazil or South America or anything. Not here in the U.S. though. So when it comes to Christianity historically, are you trying to make the claim that there was not, persecution of individuals who tried to proselyte? Really?
I'm not saying there was no persecution on either side.
Okay. I thought you were saying, okay. So
It's
there
about
was.
which is better.
So wait.
It's about which is better.
Hold on. So Christianity does allow for that, correct?
No.
No? Deuteronomy 13 doesn't allow for that?
No,
It
that's
doesn't
not.
tell you to stone
Are you
people who
kidding
call
me?
you to another God that's
Is
not the God of
Deuteronomy
Israel?
the new covenant?
Is that the same
Is
God?
Deuteronomy
Is it
the new
same
covenant?
God?
The new covenant, you have to
What
follow
is
it.
the new covenant?
Is it the same God?
It's the
It
same
is the same
God.
God, and he prescribed that in the past, correct?
So okay,
it was
now,
something
here,
more.
am I going to be able to respond here?
Wait, did he
Am I
prescribe
gonna be
or
able to
not?
respond?
You can respond. He's asking-
I
he's
just
asking
want
a
you to engage in
Now
it.
I need
though.
to, now we need to talk about this because you're bringing this up. So
Sure.
Deuteronomy is didactic and exhortational in the laws it's laying down. This is according to mainstream scholarship today. It's not laying down minimal sentences, it's expressing the moral importance. You can read, for example, Dilbert Hillers, you can read John Walton on this, you can read, for example,
What's the
Kenneth
evidence? Is it
My
the Bible?
goodness, man, my goodness. You can read Kenneth Bergman. So that's the thing. This is irrelevant because the marching orders for Christianity are not Deuteronomy, which again is didactic. It's pointing forward to something greater and more important. The marching orders are the new covenant. So no, that is not a law prescribed to Christians. It has nothing to do with the topic. And now you're basically saying, yeah, we think that happens in Islam, this killing of apostates. Yeah, that's bad for society. Guess what? Christianity doesn't allow it. You just gave me another reason why Christianity is better.
Good. So why does Thomas Aquinas, who's a Christian, obviously he was I believe he's a Catholic, right? He was a saint. He quotes the book of Hebrews, which presumably I think you take the position it was written by Paul's, but maybe not. Okay. So in Hebrews 10, it says, where is it? Sorry, second. So Paul quotes an Old Testament law that doesn't necessitate that he upholds it or believes it. Okay, in Hebrews 10, he's talking essentially about the heretics and how they should be alive, but he says
So what's
that
the
their
verse? I
judgment-
want to pull the verse
I
up.
believe it's Hebrews 10, verse 28 and 29.
Hebrews 10, 28 and 29.
Yeah, so he's quoting the Old Testament and saying, or rather he's vaguely quoting it and saying that a heretic or somebody who's going against God, that person should be unalived, but their judgment is going to come from God. Now, wait, hold on. Thomas Aquinas, a Catholic theologian, a saint of the church, right? What does he say? In Summa Theologica, he says, St. Thomas Aquinas, on whether heretics ought to be tolerated. This is question 11, article 3. It says, with regard to heretics, 2 points must be observed, one on their own side, the other on the side of the church. On their own side, there is the sin, whereby they deserve not only to be separated from the church by excommunication, but also to be severed from the world by death. For it is a much graver matter to corrupt the faith which quickens the soul, than to forge money which supports temporal life. Wherefore, if forgers of money and other evildoers are forthwith condemned but to the death by the secular authority, etc., etc.
So can we read the verse now?
Yeah. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so
I already
anyone
told
who
you
has
what
set
verse
aside
is.
the law of Moses dies without mercy on the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses. How much worse punishment do you think will be deserved by the one who has trampled underfoot the Son of God and has profaned the blood of the covenant by which he was sanctified and has outraged the spirit of grace? So this is not prescribed. This is talking about basically what does someone deserve?
Did I not say that? I literally said that.
There we go.
But
Now,
then
is
I told
Thomas
you
Aquinas the Furqan?
quotes it. Sir, I said Aquinas quotes it. Okay, we're talking about Christianity historically. Okay, and historically, Christians used to allow for the unalivement of heretics. They used to allow for the unalivement of Jews, as I already gave you the references for. You're not engaging with that.
So do
You're
they now?
literally just saying, sir.
Wait,
Yeah, it
go
depends on
ahead.
where you're
So
talking about. Yeah,
I
sure.
want to comment on that. So what
I
you're
gotta
taking...
respond to what you had said. I would like to respond to what you
I
said.
will
there.
understand. You can jump in, right? So what we're doing is that we're looking...
Hey, shut up, bro. Can you just shut up? Let him go. Each one. That's the problem when like a person that debate with Muslims, and we see that a lot on TikTok, is they like to just do this, and so yeah.
looking at a period sample size, right? For example, looking at like 1998 to like 2010, right? And we're taking that sample size and we're saying, hey, based upon that, Christianity yields the better results. But why can't we extend the sample size back? Why can't we do that?
Great,
So real quick,
absolutely.
real
I
quick.
want to do that. Yeah,
If we do take that back, would you agree that we can find historical instances where the Jews are oppressed by the Christians?
Yes, I
Beau-
never denied that.
Beautiful.
This is how you
That's
answer
what I
questions.
did.
You see
That's
what
the
I'm doing? I
problem.
say yes, and then I
don't
expound.
ask
You should
questions.
try that sometime.
Thank you. Right. So if we do take the sample size back, we see that Christianity has also contributed
Yes.
injustice.
Yeah.
Christianity has
What is the
done
topic?
justice.
Brian, could you please remind us of the topic
Right, no,
again?
I wanna
would
ask-
like Brian to remind us of the topic.
No, I understand that.
Brian,
I
understands
just want
the topic. He
to
understands
know
the
why
topic.
is the
Let's let him
sample size?
finish.
Why is the sample size from modern day, right? Specifically, looking at a recent period.
Brian, what's the topic?
So
Cutting him off.
can
Let
you
him
address
finish.
that or not?
Let him finish it, please.
Yeah. So we're saying that if we take back the sample size, would we see better results from Islam or Christianity? Right.
Brian, what's the sample? What's the topic?
Is Christianity better for society than Islam?
Thank you. Thank you.
And
there
how
we
are we
go.
going to
Okay.
observe that? Wait, how are we going to
How do
observe that IP? Can we
exactly,
observe it
based
historically?
on what you said?
Can we talk
the
about historically?
historical development of what is
Right.
producing better society.
Right.
Now, the West has clearly produced better societies.
Wait, the West is only
My
Christianity?
goodness,
Hey, just
man.
right now in this particular area
my
only.
goodness.
Right.
So,
Crazy.
what
Just
is
in this
society?
small period.
What does Christianity produce? Less child marriage, less oppression. Okay, that is not even up for debate. That has actually been demonstrated by models by Jonathan Fox, Grimm and Finke in their book, The Price of Freedom Denied. It has also produced less cousin marriage, which is also bad
That's
for
another
humanity.
story.
So yes, and it's also produced better rights where we're not killing people for abandoning their religion, because that's what Islam teaches. So all these things, yes, Islam is producing far worse societies.
Islam is doing that now. You just saw the people that got killed. What, in Nigeria or something like that? Like, come on.
This is enough for debate. We can just look at all the facts, and the numbers don't lie.
Yeah, so we want to like take this a bit forward, right? Because we also want to be able to critique your conception of what a good society is. Now, when it comes to Christianity or Western Christianity, you would admit that, for example, things like alcohol consumption is allowed. Now, when it comes to alcohol consumption, we see that, for example, 66% of domestic abuse cases are heavily impacted and influenced by alcohol consumption. So the question is very simple. If we have a society A, where there is no alcohol consumption, right, and it's completely forbidden, not allowed, and we have society B where it is allowed, which one would yield a better result insofar as domestic abuse, so on and so forth?
I ain't gonna lie. I feel like I can debate him on that. You don't want to go there. You don't want to. That's something I have studied. Little did he know, in recovery, Christianity is like one of the main sources, like of people like being recovered. Most people, like, they'll find themselves falling into Christianity when they get sober. Like, even the core, all the messages and the steps in AA and stuff, it aligns with the Bible. So yes, y'all say in Islam that you can't drink alcohol, and yes, Christianity doesn't forbid drinking alcohol, but also Christianity say that you shouldn't get drunk. So the problem isn't drinking, the problem is getting drunk. And when you get drunk and getting drunk over time, that leads to addiction. So yeah, they don't know what they talking about on that. I can school him on that. Honestly, I can debate him on that. I love to debate him on that. To be real, just on that as a whole, yeah.
So you're saying, let me see if I can steal it. You're saying if a society is producing less domestic abuse, it's better.
Of course.
Okay, beautiful. There's a great study.
I just point out alcohol consumption, though.
Okay, there's a great study called Intimate Partner Violence in Muslim Communities, showing that yes, there is more intimate partner violence in Muslim communities. So even with alcohol, you guys are still having more abuse of women, psychological, physical,
That was the question.
sexual, emotional abuse in your societies. So
Right.
even on that point,
So-
this works against you.
So, okay, no, again, the
He was talking about domestic abuse on that, so I kind of like jumped to the gun because he wasn't talking about alcohol abuse, but domestic abuse. But in most cases, when it's come down to domestic abuse and alcohol is involved, that person is more likely to be addicted to alcohol. That person is usually an alcoholic. Let's just keep it 100.
example, the question that I asked was specific regarding which society will be better, one that doesn't have alcohol consumption and one that does.
Depends on how much abuse it causes.
Okay, beautiful.
It's about the effects.
So, no, if one causes high domestic abuse due to the alcohol, it would be worse, right?
Wait. So if it causes more,
Right.
okay, yeah, it doesn't.
No, again, to be very clear, what I'm saying is if we have a society where there is alcohol consumption that would lead to domestic abuse, and we have a society that doesn't have alcohol consumption that doesn't lead to domestic abuse, which one would be better?
The one that has less abuse.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
So-
which is the
so-
West.
So again, Islam as a religion does
I would mute it right there. Guys, I just went on a whole rampage without my mic with my mic being muted. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Cause I probably said some stuff that probably would have made somebody mad.
Allow alcohol consumption, which doesn't contribute to the mass domestic abuse that is due to alcoholism that is found within the West.
It's causing more abuse regardless. This is
Thank
what
you.
the research
Wait,
shows.
a society without alcohol
hold
is
on,
better,
no. I let you talk for a little while there. Your
Sure.
whole thing was like, we're going to go on, the society that's better is the one that is causing less abuse. The research shows, multiple reviews have found that it is actually Muslim communities producing more abuse of
What's
their
the sample
women.
size?
What's the sample size? It's been done in I can pull it up right here if you want. I can pull it up.
Because yeah, go ahead,
the
put
name
it
of the
up.
article.
Yeah.
So I told you the name of the paper, Intimate Partner Violence in Muslim communities.
What's the time and the location as well?
So they looked at multiple countries. So that's important. So they were not just looking at one; they looked at several over several years, for example.
Right.
So this was several studies here. So hold on, let me pull this up here. The first one is intimate partner violence in Muslim communities. Okay. The there's like multiple studies authors. So like Bonita Sharma, for example.
What
Kenneth Flaglin. The second paper.
Do you know the sample size of the first one?
Second paper is Muslim women experience of domestic violence and abuse, a meta-ethnography of global evidence. And they specifically cite religious motivations coming from Islam.
What is the religious?
causing
Yeah, go
this.
ahead, prove it.
What are you talking about? You want
So
me to read it?
when you cite religious motivations, what is the religious motivation they're quoting?
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Here. So, cultural beliefs often influence Islamic
Cultural.
values within a society.
Cultural?
What?
Okay. I've always said religious.
Let me read. You want me to read from the paper? Okay,
ahead.
I'm reading from the Muslim women experience of domestic violence and abuse, a meta-ethnography. Okay, cultural belief often influence Islamic values within a society. These religious values and beliefs were subject to the interpretation and guidance of religious leaders. Sharia law plays a role in shaping the behavior of many individuals within a
Can you
community.
give the evidence within Sharia
My
law?
goodness, he asked me to read a quote. I don't
Because
want to read the quote.
I'm asking something very specific here. What is
Sharia law
what is the
dictated.
evidence?
Sharia law dictated that women must be obedient to their husbands. Men felt empowered to punish their wives if they perceived them as disobedient. Then it goes on to say it is evident that religious beliefs were a strong influence on women's acceptance of DVA and reluctant to leave and seek help.
Beautiful. So again, regarding a specific topic, now let's quote the Sharia. The Messenger himself in authentic hadith says those.
Wait, do you acknowledge this shows this?
Yeah, I'm responding to it.
So you acknowledge this shows there's more violence.
I
There's
know
more
that's what
violence in Muslim
that's what she
communities.
says. I'm responding to the
That's not what he
paper.
even said. He said that the effect of them not wanting to leave is due to
It's
religious.
evident that religious was a strong influence on women's acceptance of DVA.
Right,
So-
but it's not them actually committing the act. It's just the women.
Exactly.
not wanting
The
to leave.
prior quote shows that
But
yes,
them
they
actually
are.
committing the act was due to culture.
I need to read the other one
Yeah,
too?
it
Because
says,
yeah.
it
it
was
says
culture.
culture in the
So-
first sentence.
Yeah, so I don't know what you're doing. You're just misquoting these.
even
No,
if-
no, it shows that there's more violence in there, and the women are also
Can
accepting.
you just
it.
read the first sentence again?
Yeah,
real quick?
because of culture.
Yeah.
Oh my, they trying to debate a study.
Culture beliefs often influence Islamic values.
Exactly.
In
So,
society.
Wow,
okay,
man.
so
Yeah.
this goes back.
I'm not saying it's
but
just
hold
Islamic.
on. I
That's
know,
a
I know.
part of it, but
Okay.
they do say religious as well.
Okay, so
it's
if
gotta
it's
do
not
with
a
culture.
sufficient cause, then you can't attribute the actual cause to Islam.
Yes, I
It has
can.
no, you can't. It's not
Yes.
a sufficient cause.
Yeah,
Okay,
because you
so
don't
does
understand
it
how
happen
sociology
in-
works.
So this is
Hold on, you don't
wait,
understand how sociology works.
Hold on. You
Multiple
don't
factors.
understand
There's
how Mill's
cultural,
method of differences
religious.
works.
There's poverty as well. But
Right.
Islam is also one of the factors according
Right,
to the
okay,
study.
but it is not a sufficient cause. That's the point. If it was a sufficient cause, then Islam would be the only and key factor
What?
of it.
No, that's never
what a
had-
sufficient cause is.
No, that
Okay,
does
so
not make
is
sense at
Islam-
all.
So is Islam a sufficient cause?
Islam is a factor that leads to more
I didn't
violence.
ask that. I asked you, is it a sufficient cause?
That is irrelevant to the study.
No, it is
No,
literally
it's not.
not. I'm asking you, is it a sufficient cause to
My
say that
goodness.
Islam allows for domestic
Islam
abuse
is a
to
motivating
any
factor
society?
that leads to more violence according to these studies.
He doesn't want to
Can you
engage.
answer her question?
You don't want to engage.
The
Right.
question
Thank
is,
you.
what is the question? It's not following what I'm actually saying.
I know.
Because you're
Is
asking
Islam-
something
You
gotta
irrelevant to my
engage,
point.
But let's just
Because I
let's-
asked it before. You didn't want to address it before either.
Ask the
Okay.
question, and then we'll get a clear answer.
Is
Okay.
Islam a sufficient cause as it pertains to this type of violence towards women?
Okay, what do you mean by sufficient cause?
Sufficient cause meaning that it's the only thing which is necessary such that
No.
we would observe it to occur in every single Islamic society.
That is
it the
irrelevant.
case?
No, that's
I
irrelevant
didn't
to my
ask you if
point.
it's
He said
irrelevant.
no.
I asked
He
you
said
if
no.
Oh,
I
no.
said no.
Okay, good.
See, I answered
Okay,
questions.
good.
See
No,
how it
you
works?
finally answered the question.
No, it is irrelevant.
Good.
Okay.
So, no, it's not no, it's irrelevant. Is it a yes or no? Okay.
It is not, because you don't understand how
I didn't
sociology
ask him
works.
if it's irrelevant.
Let
I
me
asked
explain how
him,
sociology
is it the
works.
case that it is or isn't?
Let
Now
me
you-
explain
now
how
you can see
sociology
he's not
works.
answering the question.
Let me explain how
Pulling a
sociology
God logic
works.
right now. She wants a yes or no.
Okay, let me explain how sociology works.
I don't need an explanation.
want a
of
God logic,
sociology.
yes or no?
I
Yeah, we're
minored-
God logic.
I
We're gonna call
minored-
we're gonna
want
call
the
it
God
God
logic.
logic, like yes or no.
Okay, okay.
I minored in criminology. I minored in
that
sociology.
you-
They admire God logic. Oh, that's nice. Y'all admire God logic.
Oh
want
wait,
you
you
to
minored
engage.
in sociology.
Yes.
So that you understand that when a study is performed, they have to look at multiple factors.
Exactly.
Great,
So what I'm asking you, and you don't want to engage with, is I'm asking you, is Islam sufficient on its own to produce these results? Yes or no?
Never in sociology will that be the answer.
Oh my God. Okay.
Never.
So is
the
it not,
answer
is
is
it the
no.
case? Yes or no?
Perfect.
I said no, because
said
that's
no.
not
Okay,
how
good.
sociology
Okay.
works.
Good.
You understand? You
So
said
I'm
you
not
minored.
asking
You should know
only-
how this
hold on,
works.
hold on.
Let's go back to his point. He said the society that produces more abuse is going to have worse. Is going to be worse. I'm bringing studies like intimate partner violence in Muslim communities. To quote, in general, these studies found
Muslim community. I mean, it kind of give you the answer right there. This video is at an hour, so I'm gonna stop right there. This was a very interesting debate. IP just losing his cool. I ain't gonna hold y'all. I'm a Christian. Of course, I'm rooting for the Christian. But IP was kind of low key losing his mind, just like the scholar of that Muslim scholar. I ain't even gonna lie. So it looked like they're winning, right? It looked like they're winning, but we all know that Islam is false still, right? Because they were defending PDF. That's an issue. Even though they say, "Oh yeah, it's not right," but back in that time, no, either yes or no. So that's my thought on that. And that is my thought on that. The alcohol thing, we all know that even though Islam say don't drink alcohol, and even though Christianity don't say not to drink alcohol, Christianity say don't don't get drunk, because Christianity knows that yeah, there's some people who could drink, but there's some people who can't. And if you get drunk, it causes you to have bad judgment, right? And it is to protect people who have an addiction problem or who could open up them doors. So it literally say if it causes you to sin, cut it off too. So I think that yeah, that alcohol part, I thought that was a bad argument, I guess. But anyway, if IP could keep his cool, man, I think he could have had like it would have been easy to tell he had in the bag. Uh, I mean, the beginning that yeah, he most definitely had in the bag in the beginning. I don't care what their argument was. Like it's just wrong. That's just wrong. There really ain't no argument for that, and they spent a long time defending that, which is alarming to me. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Most definitely hit that subscribe button if you haven't. What we do here, we just react to debates. Watch out for some collaboration coming one day. I actually got some people who already are known out there in the apologetic scene, and they like my content. So with that being said, man, I hope y'all have a great day or night, whatever time it is in your area. And yeah, we'll be back another time for another review, probably the second half of this. All right, I'm out.